Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I am here today with my friend Jeremy, and what we're going to be doing is we are going to be talking a little bit about some Q and A's regarding SBA loans. Some of the questions we constantly hear. A lot of people have been, you know, seeing that we posted or I've been posting about the like a streamlined SBA program. So I want to make sure I get everybody the right information to see if it's going to be a fit. But before we do that, I want to kind of talk to you about rates and where the economy is and what we're seeing, right? You're still seeing supply chain issues. You're always hearing about, is the Fed going to raise interest rates? They just did the biggest increase in decades. Okay. And I want to kind of talk a little bit about this stuff to help you and kind of guide you to let you know like what's happening on it. So the Fed keeps raising interest rates to fight inflation, right? And what happens is if inflation keeps going up, that's really going to hurt the average person. Everything that you wind up needing to buy, whether it's for your business or for your family, is more expensive. Jeremy, you're in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
What
Yes.
what what are some of the average things you have to buy day to day, and how much do they cost compared to the rest of the country?
I believe our electric bill went up 25%, I believe, a few months ago. Everything is more. It's expensive to live out here to begin with,
Yeah,
and it's just a part of life that we living out here in Hawaii have to kind of deal with, regardless, even without the inflation issue. So it's nothing new. It's
uh-huh.
just about making a little bit more of a different approach to, purchasing things and prioritizing and just maybe finding extra things to do
Got it.
to fill that void. So pretty much that's how we adjust, or most
Okay,
people. Yeah.
that makes sense. So the reason I'm getting into this, guys, is because a lot of people really, a lot of business owners have to raise their prices, right?
Mhm.
And you have to communicate to the clients why you're doing it. The other thing I would tell you guys is when you're raising your prices, try to add as much value as possible so it doesn't, and communicate why, okay, and raise them a fair amount so you guys can still operate a strong and successful business. Right? I think that's very, very important. And I think moving forward, if you can do that or when you do that, you'll be able to operate and have a successful business, especially having clear communication to your clients saying, hey, I used to sell this acai bowl and it was $10. Now it's $12. Why? Because first, the raw materials I need for it cost an extra, 15 or 20%. All right. Second, we had to give our employees raises to combat the cost of living. So if you communicate clearly with your clients why things are more expensive, on the flip side, not just have that open communication, but add more value, I think you guys will, come out of this on top. But let's get into the SBA portion, right? Jeremy, what are some of the questions you have about this new SBA program,
Well, I
or
mean,
any questions in general?
yeah, for most people, I think it's just understanding what exactly is an SBA loan compared to any other kind of loan, like a term loan or things like that. What exactly is it? And as a person in business, like how do I know that it's good for me? You know?
That's a good question. So there's many different types of loans or business loans, right?
Hmm.
So the first thing is, a term loan is different than an SBA loan. All SBA stands for a Small Business Association, right? So it an SBA loan is just a loan that is written by a bank that is guaranteed by the SBA. Okay. And there's several different types. There's a 504, there's a 7A, and they all have a different purpose. Like a 504, you're using to buy a building.
Right.
Okay. A 7A is more for like growth and working capital or maybe a business acquisition. So again, it's like building a house. You don't build a house with just a hammer. You need a ton of different tools.
Correct.
Same thing. You don't build a business with, just one type of program. So the program that we're talking about that has the express, we get done in 14 days is a 7A. Now, what's the difference between this SBA, this versus your traditional 7A, well, the difference is pretty, is the guidelines are a little bit looser. Okay, you still need 680 credit. You still need 2 years of tax returns. When I say guidelines, I'm talking about how they're analyzing how much you get approved for.
Right.
Traditionally, an SBA loan, you need, it goes off of profit margin, time in business, credit, collateral. Okay, because it's under 150, they're not digging into the collateral piece. As long as you have 2 years of tax returns, they'll give up to 30% of top line revenue. What that means is if you
Sorry.
did,
Sorry, is it really bad the sound? Okay. Is that tax returns? Is it personal or is it business? It's business, correct?
Bus-
Just okay, got it.
business returns.
Sorry for interrupting. I just
Yeah.
wanted.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I would actually send business and personal, but you just need really the business.
Got
Okay. And so from there, why is this different? Well, because you're taking less money, and as long as you did a gross annual sales of 500,000 the year before, you'll qualify for the 150. Okay, meaning if your total revenue, total gross sales from 2021 was 500,000, you'll qualify for the 150. Now, if it was more, let's say it was a million, well, guess what? The good news is you could qualify for 300 on these guidelines. However, you can only take less than 150 per tranche. So you can take 150 now, as long as everything stays the same or improves, you take another 150 in 6 months. Okay. And these are just quicker. Traditionally, an SBA is going to take 30, 60, 90 days. These are getting done in less than 2 weeks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that that might scare away some business owners too, is just how long it takes, and the process in between. And a lot of times these businesses might need funding now or within a month or two, and they can't really afford to maybe move on to a bigger project or something like that. That's where we could help them kind of get into something that could bridge them over till that point, correct?
100%. If somebody wants a traditional SBA and they have the time to wait, but they don't have the time to wait, they need something now, right? Depending on what they're trying to accomplish. If it's short-term needs, we can get them a line of credit or a working capital line. If it's, something a little bit longer term, we could get them a term loan. Or if it's a piece of equipment, we just get them equipment finance. Right? So it just depends on what they need and what they're trying to accomplish and what is the best solution.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect example of what answer for that question. Along with, I get a lot of questions about business credit and how that ties into something like an SBA. How important is your business credit opposed to your personal credit for an SBA loan? I know
Business,
so.
yeah, they're both important. Business credit is important. Business credit is more important when it comes to, let's say, equipment financing.
Got it.
Okay. An SBA loan, it does come into play. Like, I'll give you an example. If somebody only has bad business credit or no business credit, that can absolutely come into play. What I mean by that is, let's say somebody had a vendor or a supplier and they had a dispute with them, right? And they had net 30 terms and they mark it as unpaid, okay? Or it's a collections account on their business credit. That's absolutely going to jam up that SBA loan. Okay, so it's very important to know what your business credit looks like and to be actively working on establishing business credit, because it does matter with SBA loans, it does matter for larger transactions, and it matters for equipment finance.
Got it. Yeah, and another question that I get, especially for businesses that don't, as far as the time in business, they only have less than 2 years, or they have only about a year. What can they do to get them in position? I always tell them to make sure that they have everything together as far as their credit. They're building their credit, building their business credit, making sure their revenues are up, doing whatever they can to make sure that they're bringing in as much, their cash flow is high. pretty much being a business and making sure everything is tracked, and you're able to get those paperwork in when it's time to get it in. So that way the process is a lot easier. I think that's what scares a lot of people away, is the process. And then when
Process
they
of what?
just the long process of the SBA part, along with just getting all their paperwork together, making sure everything is together.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the biggest thing, I think. So being ready for it.
got it. My suggestion is this: if you are doing or are considering taking a traditional SBA, you should probably come in and get like a review prior. Okay. One, you want to figure out, you want to do a cash flow analysis, you want to review the personal credit, the business credit, and you want to review what the tax returns look like, the business tax returns for the last 2 years. Because there are certain things that you can't change, right? And there's certain things like you go back 2 years and they were negative both years, and somebody's looking for, let's say, 500,000 or 1 million through the SBA. Well, that's never going to materialize. Why is it not going to materialize? Because you have to be able to show profit that would substantiate
Right.
or allow for the SBA to write $1 million loan. So it's always important to do a review. And Jeremy, if anyone that you speak with needs a review, just collect the normal stuff. We'll review it and we'll kind of guide them and advise them. Hey, this works. This doesn't work. I did that for somebody the other day. Does that make sense? What other questions do you have?
As far as the SBA, those are the main kind of, just understanding when somebody would be able, how they would benefit from it, opposed to the other programs, and if because of the way that it's set up, it's a good program for people, and it's just making sure that they understand that they even have access to it. Some people don't really know.
Yeah, it's a great program, but an SBA loan is used to, one, acquire a business or start a business, only if it's an SBA approved franchise. Two, it's used to consolidate debt. Okay. Three, it's used to buy a building, or anything that is super long term. Because think about an SBA loan. It's at least a 10-year loan, right?
Mhm.
It being a 10-year loan, you want to finance things over the life cycle of what you're using, right? So you're buying a business, you're going to be operating that business hopefully for 5, 10 plus years. Okay. Um, you don't use an SBA loan for marketing, right? Because you have to market every month. That's more of a line of credit.
Right.
Same thing. You're not going to buy a ton of, you don't need to buy equipment when you can finance equipment over 5 years. So an SBA loan, you want to use your long-term lines for long-term things, buying a business, consolidating a ton of debt, things along those things, buying a building, right? That's why you use an SBA. So this new Express one for 150, that's a 7A. That's perfect to consolidate debt or to give people a lot of decent amount of cash in their bank account going into uncertain times. Right? That's providing them with flexibility.
Awesome. Yeah, those are the main questions I had pretty much on SBAs, and kind of just to get people an idea. And again, like you said, we can do analysis for people if they need it, just to see where they're at and see if this even they even qualify for it. And, so that's another way we can help kind of get people moving in the right direction before they need it.
Yep.
I always tell people you should get this stuff taken care of before you need it. That way, when it is time to do it, you're there, or where you need to be to even act.
Yep.
So I think that's what people don't know exactly where they're at. They might think that they're in a better place or a worse place. You never know until you check.
100%. 100%.
Yep. So,
All right, guys. So if you have any questions or you want to get in touch with Jeremy, or if there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. We're going to be coming live, almost on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. All right, Jeremy, thanks for hopping on here, bud.
thank you.
All right, guys, take care. We'll see you on the next one.